What's up, Knife Tube? It's Diamond Cut Steel, and you guys are going to learn something today. Here we have this brand of stones that I showed before. We had some problems with them. They've corrected it now. Now you get good flat stones, no cracking issues anymore. This set comes for around, I think, about 60 bucks. Comes with a nice stone holder, silicone carbide flattening stone, a 400, a 1,000, a 3,000, and a 8,000. And it comes with one of these little things if you want it, but I suggest people don't use these. Anyhow, the seller, because of the issue, he wound up taking them off the mark, taking them off of Amazon, destroying all those, ordering new stones. Now they're good, so if you order them, you're going to get good stones. They were very nice company to work with. They were very responsive. I bought the first set with my own money. There was a problem. They immediately refunded me and sent me more sets. There was problems with them, so they took the listing down, destroyed all those stones, and here we have new ones. These are perfect. They're nice and flat. Now, I've been using, from the other set that had the damaged 3 and 8,000s, I've been using the 400 and 1,000s quite a bit. These stones are fantastic. What I'm going to do in this video, I am going to do a sharpening on some 154 cm. And we're going to take it from 400, start the edge on 400, get it nice and, hell, I can't speak here. Lift a burr, flip a burr, run it up the progression, finish it on 8K, and show you how nice of a finish you can get off these stones. These stones right here are very consistent. The grit sizing is very, very consistent. I can't stress to you that enough. They are very consistent. They have very high feedback, and overall are very good performing stones. They have plenty of abrasive in them, so they cut pretty quickly. Overall, I have no complaints with these stones. Very happy with them. Now that they are, they've got the 3 and 8K correct. There was a moisture problem with them and causing them to warp. These are splash and go. They absorb very, very little water. And again, the greatest part about these stones is just how consistent the abrasive size is. This 8,000 will leave a gleaming mirror. So we're going to do a quick video, run it from 400 to 8,000, show you the finish. I'll put a link to these stones in the comments. And if you're looking for a set of stones that won't cost you a fortune, that will be fantastic for your kitchen, your most kitchen knife steels, of course, or kitchen knives, knife steels like your more simple stainless and carbon steels, these stones will handle beautifully. You don't want to work any super high carbide steels or any really hard tool steels, like say above 64. 63 and less, you'll be good to go on these. Even a fairly wear resistant steel like 154 cm, these stones will do a fine job on. So, but for kitchen knives, for plain blades, for chisels, stuff like that, these are going to be a really fantastic set of stones for you for very little money. And I'm actually going to show you a trick to get one more grit out of this, and that will be to use the flat side of your silicone carbide stone as a coarse stone. If you have any edge damage or you reprofile on this, will cut really fast, and you can really remove some metal. Versus the 400, it cuts pretty good, but you're not going to want to, if you got a big chip, or you want to reprofile to a lower angle, it might not be super efficient with this 400, but with the back of this 6 stone, it will cut like crazy. So we're gonna run silicone carbide, 400, 1000, 3000, 8000. Show you the finish of each. And again, keep in mind, this is on 154 cm. This is a fairly wear resistant steel. And with as efficient as this will cut this steel, this is going to do a fantastic job on your kitchen knife steels, like 4116, X50CR, OS 10, VG 10, steels like that. These stones will be fantastic for, or carbon steels like blue paper, white paper steel, you know, your Ayagami steels. This could make the average, especially just if you're using it for like kitchen stuff, this could make the average homeowner a full setup to take care of them for all their sharpening needs for very little money. So let's get to sharpening. I'm gonna pause it for a second, get the table set up, and we'll get an edge on that bad boy. All right, so I'm glad I caught that. I guess when I didn't hit pause and I hit in video and I thought I was recording, I wasn't. So I've only just been sharpening for just a second on this silicone carbide stone. But actually what I was saying is that I've only made probably about 5 or 6 passes, so we ain't even got a burr lifted yet. But we're going to go ahead and do this 154 cm at about probably 18 degrees per side. But what I was saying is these are not centered stones. They are a poured material. And that is what lets them keep such a consistent grit size. Now, the feel of the stone is a little different because of that. It doesn't have that typical centered stone type feel. And they are a little softer, so you get more feedback. They don't wear super fast, so don't worry about that. Okay, we have a full burr. There's where we're at off the silicone carbide. So, you know, what this does right here is it gives you one more grit in your, or one very fast grit in your arsenal, basically. When the 400 is not going to be enough for what you're needing to do, this stone right here will cut quite quickly. It will remove some material in a fairly short manner of time. So if you've got damage that you need to correct or anything like that, okay, we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna probably about 18 degrees per side. Knock that burr back. But a lot of people don't really think to use the back side of the silicone carbide stone, and you know, you should. If you need to remove some steel, this stone does a good job at that. You can really remove some steel with this stuff. Okay, here's where we're at. Okay, now these are splash and go stones. They absorb very, very little water. We're going to hop over to the 400. Which is nice because they dry quickly. You know, they will absorb a teeny bit, but very little. And this is actually the very first time I've used these stones. And this right here, that staining is because of those rubber pads. I told the owner of the company, if I was him, I would get rid of them specifically because it does that to the stones. Does it hurt anything? No, but you don't need them. You have a good quality stone holder, So those things are kind of pointless, and all they do is make the stones look bad. But as you can see, they don't absorb hardly any water at all. Now we got a good full length burr. Beauty, miss. All right, so again, we're probably at about 18 degrees. Knock that burr back. These are very silky feeling stones, and that's got to do with them being poured and not centered stones. I actually really like the feel of these stones. And they do have very, very high feedback. These stones will tell you instantly if you're on or off angle by sound and feel. But as you can see, they're cutting this 154 cm with zero problems at all. That was probably enough to clean up that scratch pattern from the silicone carbide. Maybe. Yeah, looking good. The grind of this knife is a little funky. It's actually thinnest right here. So that's why the bevel has that little size change. It's just because how they ground this plunge in. That's why, again, on this side, see how the bevel skinnier here and then thickens up. Same here. It's just part of the grind of the knife. It's how that plunge was cut in. Okay. And another thing, these stones load up very little. Like, look at that. Load up, comes right out. All the little steel streaks come right out, which is very nice. So I'm actually going to work that side just a little bit more because it feels like I don't have a full burr. Burr's not perfectly consistent. I should have did it. Now, one thing I will say, these stones are softer than a little softer than your centered stones, especially the 3 and 8,000. So you do have to be careful, and if you are way over angle, you're gonna cut into the stone. You do have to be careful of that. Not so much on the 300 and 1,000. They're pretty hard, but the 3,000 and 8,000 are much softer. And the company told me they were doing some diamond stones as well, and they would like for me to test them out. So I'm looking forward to that. Okay, that should be good. There's where we're at on scratch pattern. Looking good. Okay. Let me wash this stone off and I'll show you where it's at load up wise, but they pretty much come totally clean just with rubbing your fingers on them. And there's where we're at. Okay, so now we're going to hop to the 1,000. Okay. Just going to give it a second, well, a few seconds, because if it's going to absorb any water, being it's the very first time I've used these. But I've used the heck out of the 400 and 1000 from the other sets. Like, I have used them heavily. I really, really like these stones. Yeah, you see, it's absorbing a teeny bit of water, but very little. You set them up, they're dry and ready to be put up within 5 minutes, which is nice. A piece of hair. Like cat. Probably Kitty Poose's hair. All right. Now we're going to work this 1000. For beginner sharpeners, these are going to be a huge plus because they do have so much feedback. Like, they have a lot of feedback. Personally, for me, almost a little bit too much feedback, because if I'm not careful when I'm coming back and I get to right here, it'll cause me to dip the stone a little bit if I'm not thinking about it. Just because most stones don't have this much feedback. But for newer sharpeners, that super high feedback is a big plus, because it's going to let you know, hey, I'm on angle, hey, I'm off angle. Like, it tells you very clearly. You will be able to hear it and feel it immediately. See, it just made me dip just then. Okay, and just that should be enough to clean up that 400. Yep. We're already getting a slight hazy polish. If you were doing like plain blades or chisels and you want to take them to a really high mirror finish for woodwork, this would be an awesome set of stones for you for little money. And the stones have I'm sure I've already said it, but the stones have a really velvety feel when sharpening, and I really like that. They much remind me, feel-wise, as far as the velvetiness of them, feels very much like Shapton glass stones do. But these are softer, for sure. And the feedback is much higher on these. And as you see, this is a fairly wear-resistant steel, and we're definitely removing some steel pretty quickly with no load up. Here's where we're at. Focus. Looking good. Go wash the stone off, show you where the load up's at. None of them really load up at all. The 8K and 3K will load up ever so slightly, but very little still. Couple passes over it with the 6 stone or a conditioning stone will have you cleaned right up. But that's where you're at. There's a teeny bit, but that's just me going like this. There's a little bit of load up, but very little. Okay, let's go over to Mr. 3K. Give it a second. You see, it's absorbing a little more water. The 3 and 8K absorb a little more water than the 401K. Let's Give it a second to do its thing. And while it's doing that, I'll show you. Good looking. That's a good looking 1K scratch pattern. They're very true to grit. All right. And remember, this is a more wear resistant steel. This is definitely a more wear resistant steel than your average kitchen knife steel. That is no doubt about it. These stones, no, the 3 and 1K have a very different feel from the 400 1000. They're clearly softer, and they have a very, very, very soft feel. They're not that soft, the stones. They're pretty soft, but they're not. They just feel like they're very soft. Working that little plunge section. My advice when you get to the 3 and 1K, don't use much pressure because you don't need to. These stones actually cut and polish very quickly. They're definitely polishing. And what I'll probably do, I'll probably do one more set of passes on the 3K. And then hop over to the 8K. That way I get my finish very, very consistent in that, and the scratch pattern matching the stone's grit perfectly. Just in case I missed anything, because I am doing this in kind of a hurt and faster than I typically would, because I don't want this to be an hour video. Now, that's not load up, so there's a little bit, but very little. Most of that comes right up. There is a little bit. I'll tell you, I don't know of any other set of stones that's this consistent that offers this much for that price. I'll say that. Okay, see where we're at. Definitely forming a polish, already starting to mirror. Beautiful. Now let's see where the load up is on this. Like I said, the 3 and 8 will definitely load up a little more. No doubt about that. But it's still very little in a cup. You know, you can clean it up very quickly with a. Oh, excuse me, that's my alarm. Sorry about that. Yeah, the wake the fuck up. It's a joke amongst the family. All right, and now we're gonna go 8K. So let me cut the alarm. There's 2 more alarms. I don't want y'all hearing the foul language. We have a unique sense of humor. It's just part of being us. Now this 8K, it'll absorb a little more water than the 3K will, but not much. Oh, if I didn't show, quick pass over that with a dressing stone or your 6 stone, and you're in business. See it sucking up a little bit of water. Alrighty. But as y'all can clearly see, at 3K, we're already forming a mirror. These are some really, really, really consistent stones. Now, keep in mind, the 3 and 8K are softer, so you do got to be careful so you don't dig into your stone. And you want to make sure you're on angle and not over angle, or you will dig into it. That's part of working with stones like this. But the pluses are, there's a substantial amount of pluses to these stones, and that is they finish extremely nicely. Okay. Now what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to work both sides a couple times. To go out, I want to go ahead and start refining that burr down. And I want a very nice finish. Now, I typically would not finish 154 cm at anywhere near this grit. I'm just doing it for the video to show you guys the finish. And I didn't want to use, I wanted to use a more wear resistant steel to show you that these stones actually can cut fairly efficiently. Even on, more wear resistant steels. I don't try and max them at or anything like that with these stones. They're not going to cut that, but steels like super blue and stuff like that. I mean, blue paper or white paper steels, your Aogami stuff. These stones are going to do an impeccable job on. Or like 52-100 or 80 CRV2. Even if it's ran a little hard, 62, 63 Rockwell. Here's where we're at. We are at a full mirror. Now we're going to start working on refining that burr. I really do like these stones. No kidding. They're great value for the money. They offer a lot. You can spend $50 for a stone holder and a set of those two-sided, double-sided Amazon or AliExpress stones that are garbage and aren't even remotely close to being correct in grit. And or you can spend $50 or $60 and get a set of stones like these. And these are actually good performing stones. If you have a steel like BG10, you know, cookware steel, you're gonna love these stones. Or like, you know, a set of Solid and German knives and like 4116, you're gonna really get a lot of performance out of these stones. Pocket knives, you know, up to like say 154 cm or D2 CPM 154. These stones work perfect for. You could probably even do steels like S30V without a ton of trouble. Yeah, they would cut S30V. I don't doubt that. My native in Spy 27 needs an edge, so I'll do a sharpening on it. We'll use these stones and see how it does on that Spy 27. I have no doubt it'll do a good job. Oh my God. Okay. Let's go clean this up, see where the load up is. Here's where we're at. Okay. So now what we're going to do, we are going to make a few passes on a, let's clean this off. Make a few passes on a bear strop. No compounds, just to make any micro burr that's on there. I'm going to go slightly above angle. Just make a few passes. It's just going to knock any burr on there off. Any burr remnants. Okay. And now we will make, I don't want to put my strops in that water. We'll make a couple passes on some 10th micron, dead on angle. Okay. And we should have a razor sharp edge. Not the right edge for 154 CM. This edge is a little bit too fine for 154, but whew, what do you know? Absolutely a razor blade. Absolutely a razor blade. Okay, and here's where we're at on finish. Look at that. That's beautiful. You've got a very tight, slightly visible scratch pattern. See it? But it's barely visible to the naked eye. This is an absolute full mirror. Let's see. Yeah, I got some antibiotic cream. I can see if I can get it lined up, but yeah, you see, that's absolutely a mirror. Focus. Yeah, like you can literally read the writing in the reflection. It's a bright mirror, and that's with a $60 set of stones. Woo-hoo-hoo. It's a razor blade. That is popping here, buddy. But yeah, so very, very, very capable set of stones for very little money. I don't know how to pronounce this brand. THLEITE. Good job. I'm actually really, really proud to check these stones out for you guys and make sure that the new ones are in good shape, and I'm very happy to say they are. And I want to say I appreciate you as a company actually doing what was right and knowing there was an issue with the stones and then taking the listing down and destroying those stones. That way none got out into customers' hands that had problems. Like that's a good solid company that does business like that, and I'm proud to work with you guys, and I'm very happy to say the new stones perform great. They're nice and flat. There's no cracking. There's no issues. And as y'all see, they do a hell of a job. And for the about $60, I mean, come on, with a good quality. This is a good, stout, solid, good quality stone holder. This is not them little cheap ones. This is a good stone holder. These are $20-$30 by themselves. Like, and this is a good quality silicone carbide block. Very good quality. These are $20 by themselves. I mean, literally the stone holder and this silicone carbide block is $50. Like, this is a damn good deal for this set of stones. So check them out. I'll put the link in the comments and pin it. You ought to go get you a set of these. They're very, very capable stones, and if you want to be able to do bright